Hey guys, before we start, could you please let me know if everything works? Because OBS just forced me to do an update, so not sure if all the settings are correct, but should be, I think. So yeah, let me know if that works, and then we can start. Looks good, sounds good, nice. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. How are you guys doing? It's an hour early. I don't know how if you guys have like summer, winter time all over the world, but compared to my time, it's an hour earlier than usual. But since it's all based on the UTC time, we're actually on time. UTC doesn't change. Yeah, UTC doesn't change, but for me, it's an hour earlier. Daylight savings, yeah, exactly. So yeah, you might be like, okay, what the fuck's going on? This is why. You're so good at Friday shows, Doug. Put the spotlight on the guest. Very selfless. Thank you very much. I try. I mean, that's just in my favor because I like listening more than I like talking. Usually, sometimes depends. Hey yo, what the fuck so early? Yeah, that's what I just said. The stream, like the daylight savings, whatever, they're already through in Germany. And yeah, like I said, UTC doesn't change, so it's all based on UTC time. And I have to come up with the clever questions. Yeah, that's true. Like, if you think about it, I don't really have to do too much Fridays because Kret does everything. He asks the question, he asks the smart stuff. I'm just sitting there enjoying the thing. But yeah, before we start, shout out to Bybit, the sponsor of the show. Their links are in the description if you do want to check them out. Really appreciate their support. And really appreciate you guys for coming by. So yeah, we'll talk about Bitcoin a bit. Just because it's interesting again, and then we'll talk about altcoins a lot, I think. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions as always. Smash the like button, sure. Smash the like button if you feel like it. That is always appreciated, obviously. So yeah, Bitcoin monthly time frame, and this is where it gets interesting because I mean, if you guys remember, like a month back, I said. In that stream, I was talking about 14K, and we got it pretty much. We got what I wanted. I mean, 14K was just rounded, but we got exactly as much as I wanted, which is this highest close area here. Pretty much nailed that to, I mean, the highest move of this recent leg is 13,854, right? And the highest close is 13,873. So pretty much hit that. Yeah. And now we're retracing, right? And for me, this is kind of like the time where it's just gonna calm down a little bit, I think, just based on the fact that support held and then we moved to the monthly target, hit that, and now, obviously, people are like, okay, I mean, if you're bearish, I mean, that's obviously the level to sell. If you're bullish, that's obviously the level to take profit on. And I think that's what happened. So that's why we've had this little, I mean, you can barely see it on the monthly, but when we go on the lower time frames, you can kind of start seeing it. Weekly time frame here, same thing, resistance, got smacked. And then we started falling off, right? And on the daily, you can see it a little bit better. Same thing, same resistance, hit it and reject it. Now, where does that put us, right? There's not that much that we could really make of this, I think, based on the structure. Other than that we've been rejected, right? But I compare this to this. I mean, I felt like those two were similar from the get-go. Like even in this structure, I was like, okay, waiting for this to kind of short into. We got that move, took the highs, rallied all the way into monthly resistance, and I think now there's a good chance we're gonna settle in down here, maybe put in a move up and then put in a retrace. How far that retrace goes, I don't know yet. I'll see how it goes, but I think that's kind of what you could expect, like something like this into a move up, so something like this into a move up, right? That's kind of what I'm expecting. I shorted this up move a little bit below this monthly level, looking for lower before going to sleep yesterday. I kind of hoped for this, so I shorted in here, hoped for this to add big time in here. Didn't happen, so now I'm just waiting to see if we get a rally back to that level so I can sell more, or if we just go back to support down here, for example, so I can take it off. But that's kind of my plan for Bitcoin anyway. I think given that we've reached monthly target, given that we've reached weekly target, given that we've reached daily target, all of these resistance has been hit. I think it makes sense for a pullback. Doesn't have to happen, but given how weak the traditional markets look, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? So you have the dollar index kind of putting in a little bit of a rally today, which is inversely correlated, and then you have the traditional markets just completely dumping, right? So, and gold too. So you have gold too dumping. So a lot of confluence in there for Bitcoin to kind of put in a pullback. Doesn't have to happen. I mean, it's been really strong. Circles to top, so I shot it up here. Fuck off. You're actually in the Discords and in the chat groups where I posted about shorting. So fuck off, cred. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the credit has to go to Loomdot again, because I mean, I'm still not feeling 100%. And he was telling me to short in here, and I was like, and then it rallied, and then he was just like, am I delusional, or is this the giga short? And I was like, it's starting to look like it. So I scaled in, and he went pretty much balls deep. And whenever Bloomdot and I kind of agree on something like that, it usually plays out pretty well. So gotta give credit where credit is due. Loomdot's called it yet again. But yeah. Thanks for a realistic bias. Needed that. Is it time to flip the duck upside down again? I mean, I was considering it yesterday, but I'm still not feeling good. So I don't want to deal with all the people getting mad at me. But yeah, I mean, I'm short biased down to support levels. I was like, okay, we're going to get, like, I could see 14K I wouldn't want to short before. This is pretty much exactly that criteria met. So I think there's a good chance that we now put in a decent pullback. I think, honestly, and I mean, a lot of people would disagree with me about that, but I think in general, like a 40% pullback still in the realm of possibility. I mean, we've had historic precedent for it. You can just look at old charts during the rally, right? During the rally, we've had 40% down, 40% down, 40% down, 40% down, 40% down, right? So that's happened before during bull runs. So I could easily see a 40% pullback, which would put it to like 7, 9, 8K. Still think that'd be completely fine and pretty bullish. Like I'd buy that shit. It doesn't have to happen, obviously. Kind of have like a little bit more of a macro bullish situation for Bitcoin going on. But yeah, I mean, if you're not prepared for that kind of stuff in crypto in general, you tend to get fucked, right? People weren't prepared for this. they got fucked. People weren't prepared for this. They got fucked. In general, if you're not prepared for anything crazy to the up or downside, you usually get fucked. So I'm not necessarily calling a 40% correction, but I could see it happen. COVID cough, demonetized, fuck. Don't feel sick and is coughing, but his private slavery means he has to stream even if he's on a ventilator. That's how it works, my friend. That's how it works. Kretz sitting here with a gun to my head, making me. Wow, and you guys criticize me for swearing. I think they used to mine, or they know they can't fix it. So, yeah. And the worse I get, health-wise, the more I swear. But I feel much better than before. Just lingering. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. I think that's straightforward enough. Daily-wise, what you don't want to see, right? The one thing that bulls don't want to see, this is just a pullback right now. And if you read the newsletter that Cred and I put out for free, I think the link's also in the description. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong if it's not. But yeah, we have this daily level here. I think that has to hold. If it doesn't, I think there's a good chance that we go into this area. Maybe down here, just because there's not that much support down below. So if you're right now bullish, you don't want to see that get lost. So that's that. I think Bitcoin's straightforward enough. I mean, it's just literally monthly support into monthly resistance. Those are kind of my favorite plays. I've done those a million times over. People always meme on me for saying wait for the monthly close. I said that here. We waited for the monthly close. It was bullish. I was like, okay, I don't want to be short here. And next monthly, we're up here at resistance where I can be short again. So people like to meme on the monthlies, but I think they are relevant. Just going to have to, I mean, it takes a little bit more patience than other stuff. Don and Cred, the shows are always amazing. Thanks for that. I have the feeling Don try always to find on the charts to short Bitcoin. Is this right? Never hear him say there's a spot I will long Bitcoin. I mean, you haven't really been around too long then. Like I was talking about longing Bitcoin down here while shitting myself. But yeah, I just generally don't try to long too much above 10k, but that's just my personal preference. I think like at some point it gets expensive to do so, but that might change. Like if we start closing above here and so on, I might change my tune. But so far, like for me, like taking these nice 12 to 10.3 shorts, and then from here like 14 to whatever I get, 11, that's more than enough, and then I can jump back in on the long side once it starts getting stupid towards 20k. But so far, I don't know, it's just I like it better. But yeah, I mean, you can, when I say, if you want to be the bullish version of me, right? When I say I don't want to be shorting here, you can long the shit out of that, right? Like if I'm not bearish on prices above 10k, I mean, that's a good sign that if you're a bull, that might be a good long setup, right? I mean, just depends on how you take it, right? I actually long 10.3 and then closed way early, so it was 10.350 or something. Yes. So that's Bitcoin. I think that's enough. I think it's probably going to go down. My personal opinion, probably going to go down. And that changes. The good part is that changes if it starts even closing in on 13.6 again, I think. Like anything sustained between 13.6 and 13.8 would probably be bad news for bears. Until then, this just looks pretty fucked to me. And the one thing that confirms that belief for me And the reason why it's so easy for me to be bearish this right now is ETH, because ignore the daily, is super ugly. Because ETH looks pretty bad, in my opinion. So you have a huge support resistance flip here, right? I mean, you have a high set in the rally that led to the all-time high and acted as support before the massive breakdown. And we reclaimed that and then fell back below it, and we're now retesting it from the underside. So if we don't rally in the next 3 days above this resistance, I just think there's a good chance we go to the next support. It's the same thing as Bitcoin, just in inverse, right? So I was like, don't short. If you, I mean, we can go back to it. I was like, don't short into the support, right? Because as long as it holds, expect higher, right? And now look at the ETH chart, and I'm saying don't long into this resistance, because as long as that holds, we're going lower. So it's the same kind of setup. Next monthly candle, probably something like that, straight to support. I mean, I can't predict the future, but as long as support resistance works as well as it does here, I'm just going to assume that it's going to do that. Could be wrong, obviously, you're never going to be right all the time, but I think the chances are on my side. So even if I was bearish Bitcoin, which, I mean, I'm not really super mega bearish Bitcoin, it's just like the setup, but I'm bearish ETH. And as long as this holds, as long as 390 acts as resistance on ETH, I think it's going down. And if we close above it, like significantly above it, let's say 410 or something in the next 3 days, forget I ever said that, but until then, gonna be bearish ETH. And yeah, if you've read the newsletter has actually been even more accurate than my charts with the weekly. I could actually, can I open that up? Let me see if I can open that up. The newsletter charts. Yeah, here you go. Should work, I think. Yeah, so that's the charts that we use for the newsletter, right? That's the genius of Cred and I combined. So if you don't wanna have to just one genius or one idiot, however you think we are. I mean, I'm fine with you calling us idiot as well. But yeah, if you don't want to have one idiot working on it, this is the power of two. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty nice, right? Get a retest of the range. The newsletter was pretty hands, like, was pretty risk off anyway at that point. And now we went from resistance to support. So if that holds, I'm going to have to watch it for the next few days. Might put in a bounce, but in general, if it does fail, I think there's no daily support left, right? And if you look at the weekly chart, if that fails, next weekly support is down here. So yeah, these charts way more clean than mine. So if you wanna have clean charts, go read the newsletter. And if you had messy ones, copy mine. Ape together strong. Yep, ape together strong. So yeah, that's ETH for me. I don't really see anything bullish for ETH unless it breaks that monthly resistance, because it's just like Bitcoin, and you can see the power of the monthly. If you look at Bitcoin move 10 to 14k, pretty easy in 1 month. I could see the exact same happen on the inverse on ETH. And ETH BTC, if you look at ETH BTC, this is kind of what's brewing for ETH BTC. I've been saying this for a while now, that this would be pretty memey, and crypto likes memes, so getting like a massive inverse head and shoulder here would be pretty funny, right? And I could see that, honestly, I could see that playing out. So could see it go all the way down here. But yeah, we're approaching support, so it's going to be interesting how it goes. If you're bouncing from there strongly and Bitcoin puts in a bounce, maybe the ETH monthly close isn't as bad as I think it will be. But I wouldn't bet on it. I'm quite happy betting on the opposite, that the monthly close is going to be bearish. And then, because if one of the bad things with waiting for these big time frames, right? I mean, Bitcoin made it pretty easy to long the monthly support, but sometimes what you get is you're like, holy shit, this monthly is really bearish, and then you never get a proper low time frame entry. It just starts dumping, right? Or you just don't know where to get into. So sometimes when I have a situation where I'm like, for example, this with ETH, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna close below this resistance. So I was looking 4 cells above the resistance, and got a pretty nice one at 407, 406, 407. That's something I like to do in general when I'm pretty sure resistance is going to act as resistance. Just try to sell above, so that if the new monthly close, if this monthly closes and we just straight up nuke next month, that I'm not caught out of position, right? But it's a little bit more of an aggressive tactic. The more risk averse one would be just waiting for the monthly close. And with me taking a position before the monthly close, I'm obviously going to close that if the monthly close is different from what I think it should be doing, right? So if the monthly close is bullish, obviously not going to keep the position. Hi Dawn, today in ETHUSD future on Binance, there was 2 crazy wicks. Is this market manipulation? And if so, how does someone make money by blowing up order books this way? I don't actually know. I haven't looked into it. I've seen the wicks you're talking about. I don't know if where they are exactly. ETHUSD is probably not somewhere in here, right? Yeah, it has to be in future somewhere. Can someone give me the ticker of the one that did it? Because I don't actually know where it exactly happened. But yeah, I know that there was like this stupid price was trading and you had a wick to the upside, wick to the downside, like a wick to the upside to 500 or something. Wick to the downside to next to nothing. I'm not sure. Like sometimes these wicks happen and no one gets filled, and so it's just like one person gets to sell the bottom with like a bug or something. It happens with Kraken sometimes, and sometimes these wicks actually cause stop losses. And if they I don't know in that case if they cause people to stop out or not. But yeah, if people stopped out, there's definitely something fishy going on there. But I think you'd probably get refunded by Binance if you got stopped out on those wicks. But I'm not entirely sure. But most honorable exchanges would refund that, I think. Or at least partially refund it. And whether there's, to the question of whether there's, like, why would you do that? I mean, if you can wick it to the up and downside and stop out leverage traders, I mean, that's just plain making money for you, right? Let's say you have to sell 100 Bitcoin to push price a shitload lower so you can get filled for 200 Bitcoin at the bottom. I mean, that's obviously going to be worth it for you, right? Even though you're pushing price, like price is moving here, right? You're selling 100 Bitcoin to move price down here. So you're selling under the index, like way below price, right? But then everyone that gets stopped out pushes it even further, and you can get filled down here for a shitload for more than you sold in here, and then price obviously goes back. I mean, that's going to be good for you, right? So if there's a possibility like for that, I mean, there's people that would abuse that. But that is more a thing of the past. I haven't seen that too much recently. Not entirely sure if that's what happened on Binance or not. yeah, you can ask me next time, like next stream, and I'll know. ETH USDT perp. Okay. Thank you very much. Where is it? It's nowhere to be seen. Probably a display bug then, if it's not in here anymore. But yeah, I saw the chart. I saw it go like stupid high, stupid low. That stuff, like, oftentimes it's a display bug. Oh. USD. That doesn't even exist. ETH used... Whatever, you get the point. Talked about it enough. So yeah, we'll see how Bitcoin goes. Like I said, ETH looks pretty bad for me on the higher time frames. Can obviously go a different way. Still 3 days to go, right? So the rational person would just wait the next 3 days. But yeah. And then we have other stuff, Litecoin, for example. I've been watching this because I was interested in maybe getting a position. But high time frame wise, this looks really bad as well. This is something I noticed beginning of this week. Like, I was thinking about like maybe getting in on this, but this is just a bearish retest now. So not interested in that too much, given that any bearish retest on Litecoin has been absolutely brutal in the recent history of trading Litecoin. Anything even close to getting a bearish retest, even in here, bearish retest, right? And even all the way up here, retested this bearish trading range. Always played out bearishly. So I'm just gonna sit tight, wait for it to actually do something bullish before I get in, right? Bitcoin Cash, some people might ask themselves why today is so green for Bitcoin Cash. I think that has to do with the fork that's coming up. So Bitcoin Cash might have some upside, but as we know, if the market is bullish, Jesus, I need to remove these drawings. If the market isn't bullish, bullish news gets sold into. Best example, EOS. We had these news that, was it Google? I think it was Google. Some big company was going to be a block producer, whatever. And that caused a spike and then was used to aggressively sell into. So whenever you see that kind of stuff, when you see bullish news, right, in a bear market, and this is a bear market, right, people tend to forget, but because Bitcoin is going up, right? But this is a massive, massive massive altcoin bear market. We've been doing nothing but trend down, right? This is a massive trend down. And this is actually accelerating rather than decelerating. So we're in a massive bear market for altcoins, at least for most of them. So as long as we are in one, it makes sense to kind of sell into bullish news. If you remember, I posted on Twitter, I wish this happened without any news, because that's the kind of movement you want to see at the bottom, where you just get random spikes up like that. But if it's caused by news, it's usually used to sell into. It's just how it works. But remember Wimbledon with LTC, yeah, the thing is, like, yeah, the market conditions, in my opinion, are even worse than they were in the past. So I mean, I got positioned in here, got out because of the BitMEX shutdown and everything. But I don't want to get in. I'm just gonna wait and see how Litecoin plays out. I was joking about Wimble. I mean, I think it's gonna be a legit catalyst once it does come around. It's just the question of, I mean, that's gonna be in a while. Like, it's gonna take a while till that happens, and it's a question of is the market gonna be in a bullish mood, right? And we're definitely not. Like, if you look at altcoins, this is what I see. This is a good altcoin. At least, like, the idea of it is good. And this is what happens with it. So, like, people are trying to meme on me, being like, you missed the entire altcoin rally. I'm saying, which fucking rally did I miss? Like, point on the chart, what did I miss? Because for me, we're making new lows in pretty much all of these. EOS, ADA, I mean, ADA is still trading above. XRP, like, all of these are making new lows, right? So I don't know exactly what some people are talking about, but when I'm looking at this, right, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. You guys have heard me talk about this on and on and on about altcoin capitulation, right? I've been saying it for literally years at this point. This is what I wanted to see. Do you see this? Just go on the weekly, and you see this. Do you know what this is? First smart person in the chat gets a cookie. What is this? Ryan says it's parabolic. This is starting to go parabolic. Ryan the man gets a cookie. This is starting to go parabolic. We're starting to actually capitulate. Like, this is capitulation movement. The crazy part about capitulation, or in general parabolic moves, right, is, I mean, you all know it. When you see something go parabolic and you try to short it, you get fucked by it just slicing through you. It's the same thing here. This could go put in a candle like this next week, and then even bigger. I mean, obviously it goes into zeros here, but you get the point, right? This could go and make bigger and bigger candles, but it's starting to go parabolic, and whenever you see parabolic movements, it's usually near the top, right? And the same is true for all coins near the bottom, in my experience anyway. When you start going parabolic on all coins, closing in on the bottom. So I'm very happy to see this, even though, like, it sucks for the holders. I mean, I'm sorry for everyone that's holding it and is down a shitload. But I mean, I'm just hoping this rolls over completely, goes to very low, so I can buy it cheap and then sell it more expensive later on, or get completely fucked over. Possible too. But yeah, this is acceleration. This is accelerating. This is going parabolic, and that's good news for me anyway. And I mean, you see the same with Dogecoin, for example. It's been steadily bleeding out. I'm hoping it goes anywhere between like 15 sats to like 8. So I can actually get it back. And then maybe it goes to 0 after. I mean, that would just be cosmic irony, right? I'm bearish on all coins, and on Doge, for example, on Doge since like 60 sats, 70 sats, it goes to like 10, and I'm like, haha, you idiots bought before 10. And then I buy it, and it goes to 0. It'd be fucking hilarious. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Low fills, and then for it to not go to 0. But don't be wrong, right? This shit, I mean, Dogecoin hopefully not, but this shit can go to 0. It's not and most of this, let's be honest, most of these coins, right, even the ones that you do like, are almost certainly going to 0 at some point. So you're gonna be pretty damn sure that you're gonna get it, like that you're gonna get someone to sell it to later on. Otherwise, yeah, you might be the one holding the bag. So yeah, that's like those are a few of the coins. Like almost all of the old coins are making new lows. The DeFi coins holding a little bit better in comparison, but they're not as old and haven't been dumping as long. Because if you think about it, like if you're looking at these DeFi coins, they're dumping pretty damn fast too. This is Wi-Fi. It's down 70% in a month. And I mean, this is why it pays to just map this out on a higher time frame basis. Because I mean, if you've been holding this, tough luck. And I don't think the suffering is over, honestly. I'd be very surprised if this just didn't. Maybe it bounces here, right? But I think in the end, I think this goes to this cluster again. Could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know much about the project other than it kind of feels, I mean, I don't want to say scammy, but it kind of does feel scammy from what I've seen. The people do. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm more than happy just taking trades on it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the future for like most DeFi stuff, most early DeFi stuff anyway. It's the same with altcoins. They usually like you get some new shit, it goes up a shitload, and then it goes down 90%, and then maybe it's cool, puts in the bottom, and then goes back up, right? But there's so much shit out in the DeFi space that everything, like pretty much everything has to go down like 90%, 95% to weed out all the shit, and then the good parts, like the good ones, get accumulated, and then you're good to go, usually. Salsa is the Pepper is a little concerned that you haven't bought Doge yet. Yeah, he told me he was buying Doge. And I told him I was gonna buy lower. He wasn't happy about it. But yeah, I wanna buy 15. I think 15 is the best I can do. I mean, 15 might be a little bit greedy given the fact that that's pretty much all-time low. But I just feel like altcoins are so bearish that if you're buying anything but all-time lows on the old ones, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? Because if you think about it, even Dogecoin, one of my favorite coins, what's been happening with Dogecoin, it's been downtrending, right? Instead of going sideways. Like if you're brutally honest about it. You've had this ended by a massive giga pump, right? And then ever since the giga pump, you have a high here, set the low here, and then you started kind of going lower and lower and lower on these pumps. And you've kind of entered into this weird downtrend. Could obviously be ended by the same support that did it here. But this is technically a down, like, I mean, it's not mega technical because you still have this low that kind of undercuts all of this. But for me, it's technically still looking like a downtrend. So I could see, like, for me, there's not much reason to kind of rush into it. But I could see myself get owned by putting in like a candle like this in the coming weeks. But one of the reasons why I'm still cautious and a little bit on the defensive side is just that I think like all the other coins could put in, like this doesn't feel like capitulation. I remember trading this and this felt like capitulation, and this pump felt like a test pump to me, and I'm not feeling it right now. But that kind of thinking can be dangerous. Like I could miss out on it and that'd be sad. So might start like a little bag, get more aggressive towards 15, get aggressive, even more aggressive towards 10. And I've explained this before, right? And people are like, dude, why are you buying into such obvious weakness, right? And for me, it's like, I've bought Dogecoin here, I've bought Dogecoin here, I've bought it a couple times in here in this chop. And every time I've done so, I've made money with it, right? And I'm not gonna go all in Dogecoin. I'm not even gonna risk, like, these kind of trades, the few Dogecoin trades that I've made, like, especially this one, made me so much more than I'm ever gonna risk on Dogecoin again. So I'm just willing to put in a tiny amount of that what I've made in the over the years in it, and just risk it on it happening again, right? The chances of it happening again, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I think that they're decent. I wouldn't say they're high, but they're decent enough for me to take that risk. But yeah, I mean, I could see it just keel over, go to 1 sat like a lot of other altcoins have done. And I'd just be a back holder, and that'd be fine by me. Like, the moment I buy this from like a cyclic standpoint, right, I'm gonna see this money as lost. I put money into this, I see it as gone. Because, I mean, where am I gonna, like, if I'm buying here, right, at like 15 sats and it goes to 8, I'm not gonna sell at 8 because I could see it go below, like, or to 8 and still be a good buy, right? And then it goes to 5. Am I gonna sell 5 then? I don't think so. So I'm gonna put in money that I'm willing to lose, expecting it to lose, and if it goes up, I'm a happy man. If it doesn't, I mean, shit happens, right? Why do people still buy Doge? Why do people still buy altcoins, right? I mean, all these altcoins have been doing poorly. I personally like Doge just because it doesn't pretend to be anything. I mean, all of these coins, right? They're pretending to be the next big thing, and they're really not, right? Like, all of these, just empty promises. Like 99%, even on my list, which I think is like a little bit better than the average. 99% of this shit is empty promises, right? Dogecoin doesn't promise you anything. Dogecoin just is. And yeah, it's not built on lies. So, I mean, I just like it for what it is. And yeah, I don't know. In general, memes do well, in my experience. If you've ever experienced memes and how they spread, Dogecoin has the potential. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. I like it. I think most of this other shit is even worse than Dogecoin is. Nano. Every altcoin you just mentioned has outperformed Bitcoin. Not really. They're all at all-time lows. How could they outperform? Like, Nano definitely didn't outperform Bitcoin. If you look at this, I think you're getting something very, very wrong. Nano's barely up from the lows. Like, yes, it wicked very low on this chart, right? But from the low, even from this wick low that really isn't accurate, Nano's up what? Nothing. Bitcoin's up like this. It's nothing in comparison to what Bitcoin's up. And Bitcoin's much, much bigger and way less risk. Obviously, I mean, if Bitcoin pairs make new lows, these coins can't outperform Bitcoin. Just, I mean, that's not how it works. Yeah, and I think you're getting something wrong. Like I said, like, if you have Bitcoin pairs pushing lows, they're down against Bitcoin. That means they're obviously underperforming Bitcoin. Oh, DeFi Holdings is looking at like hours, minutes and minutes away. Whatever. Just ignore the guy. I'll look. I mute him for a second because. But yeah, because it gets distracting. But yeah, these coins pushing new lows. Definitely not outperforming Bitcoin. Sorry guys, for I mean I didn't wanna. It just got a little bit much. But yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of weakness on these charts, right? And even the coins that I do like, you have Zcash pushing in new lows. I kind of regret that I don't have this line anymore. But I mean, I can always just draw it. But you guys remember it, right? How I said, okay, buy when it's below, sell when it's above. It's kind of how it's going, right? I mean, it should slow down. Zcash is kind of slowing down the selling soon. Maybe you get like a little bit less of a steep drop then. But yeah, these altcoins been pushing lows. But it really does feel like it's accelerating. Like when you see these bottoms fall out, right? So you have a bottom here. Let me do it like this. Your bottom like this, and then the bottom falls out. They tend to accelerate, and when they do accelerate, they do have the potential to pump. Before, not so much. You still in XMR deck? Sorry if you spoke about it before. No, I sold that weeks ago. I think I talked about it 2 weeks ago. For me, it could close enough to this resistance, but I sold good part before. I sold into this pump, I think. Or was it this one? One of these two. Didn't even get close to the high. But yeah, the interesting part about these moves is that they're happening into. I mean, the reason why I think this is happening, right, is that a lot of people, and do correct me if you guys disagree, but a lot of people look at Bitcoin and they're seeing these parabolic moves, these massive gains, right? And they're like, holy shit, I could have bought Bitcoin at $4,000. It's at 12,000, 13,000 now. It's way too expensive for me to buy now. But this altcoin is still only up like 50% from the lows. So I'm just going to buy that. And then when it catches up to Bitcoin, I'm going to make all that difference. And I'm going to be early on that altcoin instead of late on Bitcoin. But that's not how trading works. That's literally, at least most of the time, the exact opposite of what you should be doing, right? Because what you're doing is you're buying weakness. So you're going into the weaker asset, and then if Bitcoin starts selling off, you're actually going to get doubly wrecked, because Bitcoin is going to get wrecked, taking away the US dollar balance of your coin. And then also other people in your situation are going to be like, fuck, selling those coins on you, and then you get doubly wrecked, because then the Bitcoin pair goes down and the USD pair goes down. So I oftentimes see people like play the catch up by buying altcoins. One of the worst things that you could do in most cases. Sometimes it does work out, but most of the time it doesn't. So most of the time you get wrecked. And then it's just so painful if you look at, like, let's say you decide to buy an altcoin when Bitcoin hits like 9K because Bitcoin's too expensive. And then you try to play catch up, and then the altcoin literally stays flat against USD. And the Bitcoin pair starts dumping, and you see Bitcoin rallying. And then you're like, but now I can't sell because the difference is even bigger now. And then the Bitcoin pair capitulates. Maybe Bitcoin even starts dumping a little bit, and you're just way more wrecked than you should be. I can't recommend that. I've seen so many people fall for it. It's one of the worst things you could do, in my opinion, with the altcoins. What you do instead, right, is when Bitcoin goes parabolic, like here, and I mean, it's done this a little bit here, but it's not enough, in my opinion. When Bitcoin goes so high that you see retail interest come back, right, and altcoins still dump, that's where you start looking at the altcoins. And you start looking for potential bottoms, capitulation bottoms, because you know that there's some very smart people they're going to abuse the new people that come into the space by pulling them into altcoins, right? It's kind of a rite of passage. You see Bitcoin pumping, you try to get in, there's oftentimes near the top, and then some people shit altcoins to you. You say, okay, this sounds really cool. You get into the altcoins, they do really well. You get your family and friends in it, and it starts dumping, right? It's kind of how the dynamic likes to work. I don't think we're there, like not even close. I don't think there's enough retail interest in the crypto markets right now that you would even get something close to it. But I mean, I could be wrong on that front. But like, let's say we go to 20K, right? We go to like 25, 30, 40K. At that point, you start looking at these altcoins and you're like, holy shit, the Bitcoin values are like 99% down or more. Maybe someone's gonna play a squeeze and get these poor people to actually invest into a bunch of crap. So that's kind of how I see it. In between these, right? In between, and I mean, I've been saying this since literally beginning of 2018, right? I've been saying Bitcoin got distributed by using altcoins, and I think that's going to happen again. You're going to see 30, 40, 50K at some point, possibly, maybe. And if we go there, it's probably going to be distributed by using altcoins. Just the easiest way to go about it. And before then, it's all just endless bleeding into capitulation, into a pump, into maybe a second leg, into endless bleeding, into a pump. You get the point. And then, I mean, this went way too high, but you get the point, right? That's what we've been having, and that's what we're gonna continue to get until we're making new highs on Bitcoin. This entire market is resting on Bitcoins, and maybe, I mean, if you want to add ETH, I don't really care. If you want to say it's also ETH, whatever, I'm not gonna argue with you. In my opinion, it's basically all Bitcoin. But I mean, I can see the ETH argument as well, right? But those are the ones that are pushing it. Let's say Bitcoin and ETH, right? And the rest is just following along. And then when you get these two crazy valuations, then you see it spill over into the other ones. Until then, I mean, what you're basically getting is you're getting a bleed out because no one gives a shit about these altcoins. Then you get a squeeze because people actually find out that you can short this stuff or just start capitulating and other people start buying it back. And then you get something like this, same thing, and then you bleed out and make lower and lower and lower lows, right? Okay. By the way, Wi-Fi creator made a new coin called Keeper. It did like 15x to 20x today. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Shit happens all the time. Why are people spamming Dogecoin? It's not doing anything. CRV pump continued. The CRV thing is interesting if you remember last Friday when Loom was on. He was like, wait for funding and then like wait for funding to get stupid and then long it. That's basically what happened, right? You got a short squeeze. I think this still continues to dump. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. Basically, it's something like this. You sell the moment it takes off from this line. You buy the moment it goes below this line. Before it goes. I mean, it's not going to go to zero, right? But it's going to go pretty low, in my opinion. I mean, it's literally made to be dumped, so. Oh my, now France announced national quarantine. Yeah, I think the entire thing, we're pretty much set up for like a nuke on the traditional markets, and somehow gold is nuking as well. And then, I mean, it's very unlikely for me anyway that the crypto markets take off during that. I mean, I could be wrong. More than happy to be wrong in that one. But I'm willing to take that chance. Thoughts on Chainlink? We can talk about Link, yeah. Sorry, today's been a little bit all over the place. Like you said, still not fully there, but I'm trying my best. Yeah, I was hoping for this, right? If you guys remember, if you've been around for a while, I've been hoping for this. It's starting to get, like, it's even looking too weak for that, I think. Like, I was expecting it to go lower. I could honestly just see it roll over here, retest this, and then do this instead of this thing up here. If that's the case, I'm not going to be able to short it because I don't really want to short into the support. If anything, I'd want to short into this resistance, but I'm definitely not bullish on Link. On both pairs, really. If you look at Link, the Link perp, this is the chart, right? And even there, you can kind of like, I mean, you can't really draw this nicely. Is there a good way to draw this? And what you're kind of having, right? Whatever, I'll just use it like this. Do you guys remember last week where I said ETH is kind of doing this? And whenever it does something like this, and it's not really gaining momentum to the downside, it usually bounces. I might still even have it on the chart for ETH. Yeah, here. Remember this? And we got this green candle before breakdown. Right, so we got a bounce there. I think the very same thing could easily be happening for Link, where you have like marginally higher highs, right? But really you're not gaining any momentum, and then you're bouncing on it, you're bouncing on it, you're bouncing on it, and then you get rejected. And then the question is it gonna full-blown breakdown or is it not? And I think that's completely relies on Bitcoin. But I'm not, like, this is in the middle of nowhere. I'd want to short it at roughly $15. But I have a suspicion I'm not gonna get it. So not bullish on Link. I'd much rather short it than long it, honestly. And I mean, I've done that before. People hated me for it, and then it went from 17 to what did it go to? I don't even know. Like, I didn't sell the bottom. Sold a bit too early. But yeah, it went from 17 all the way down to 7. So yeah, I could see us retesting that at least. Maybe ranging it. Maybe it does put in a range. That'd be the most bullish thing I could think of. Equities hate life right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, dude. Like, everything, there's just bearish news after bearish news. Boss, you think November is gonna be like March for the traditional markets, gold and Bitcoin? I don't think so. Like, the market was stupidly over leveraged in March, so I'm not really expecting the same thing. But I could see them bleed down for a while. Like, I think we're gonna have to deal with the COVID fallout for a while. Obviously depends on all the stimulus that we get and all of that kind of stuff. It's not something I'm an expert in. But generally speaking, just from like a standpoint, okay, in regards of what's gonna happen worldwide, is we're gonna struggle with Corona for a while, and the economy, like the impact on the economies is gonna be at least like 3, 4, 5 years. It'll be felt for those. So yeah, SPX is dumping non-stop. Yeah, this is some crazy shit. This is the SPX. And for me, like, looking at the chart, right, I could easily see it go, like, ignoring everything else, right, I could easily see it go down here. and that'd be a massive wipeout again. And I think that probably take the crypto markets with it, at least somewhat. So, Don, any examples of how you'd look to long these altcoin capitulation, reversal patterns, etc.? Okay, so what I usually did in the past, right? We haven't had anything like this in a long time. Let's look at BAT, right? It's actually the only time where I really care about the volume, right? So you turn on volume, you don't really have to, but it's nice. And then you see this go parabolic, and then at some point you get massive volume bars into like a grind down, while Bitcoin either hits massive support or massive resistance, right? So if these altcoins capitulate, Bitcoin is going to do something wild as well. It's always the case. Like we've had altcoins capitulate while Bitcoin was capitulating before. So, I mean, altcoins got doubly wrecked because they were losing against USD and they were losing against Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin hits support. And these altcoins are in the middle of nowhere because they're making new lows, right? And then you suddenly see buying come in for these altcoins, right? And you see the volume bars go up, everything, right? And Bitcoin starts bouncing. This bounces, oftentimes puts in like a low, whatever, and then they shoot off together. Like that's how in the past it's often played out. Could obviously be the opposite too, where Bitcoin just goes parabolic. These things dump off, happens too, and then Bitcoin hits resistance and these start bouncing, right? And the most recent one that I played was Nano. And the one like capitulation has been a long time. Like it's been really long. The last time I played it was this. So we can look at this. I can even look at it on lower time frames. Can we go back so far? Sometimes you can't. Yeah, we can. Nice. So in this case, let me remove all of this shit. So what you get is like this is sustained downtrend, right? I mean, you can even draw it like this. Right, so this is the selling that's going on, right? Roughly. And every time you go far from that line, you start capitulating, right? And in this case, you saw it start to accelerate. I mean, you can, whoops, fuck. No. You can see it on the chart how it's accelerating. And I mean, it's something that I showed you on BAT before. Sorry for this, accidentally hit spacebar. This is really clean, where you just start getting bigger and bigger candles. And then the volume, like on average, I mean, the volume average didn't really do anything. And then it went up massively in here, went sideways for a little bit, and then you got a massive explosion upwards, right? And it's usually accompanied by either Bitcoin hitting support or resistance. And the thing is, you can't really use horizontals or diagonals or anything. I mean, you can use the diagonal like this, just to kind of have an idea where it is, like where the coin is in relation to where it should be, right? When it goes far away from the general trend, you know, okay, it might start capitulating. But the thing is, like, you buy this here where it starts I mean, this was capitulation already, right? If you buy too early, you're down 20% in like literally 4 hours. But I mean, this is something that when you buy altcoins, you just have to deal with. Sometimes you just buy this and it goes down another 20%, and then shit happens. Like for me, when I buy these altcoins during capitulation, I'm prepared to lose it all, just to go to like to see it go to zero. And if you're not, you shouldn't be buying this. Would you ever buy Nano again? I'm not entirely sure. Honestly, I don't know. Not necessarily one on my bucket, like on my bucket list something else, but not something on my list anyway. I think Nano's been pretty well distributed, right? That's the problem with a lot of these projects, actually. That, I mean, they've done what they were supposed to do, right? They've enriched their founders, they've enriched the people that wanted to make money with it, and created a bunch of backholders. Problem with Nano, for example, is you've got a bunch of backholders still in it, right? That want to sell but can't because it's so low. And this is the case for a lot of these altcoins. And that's why, in my opinion, you had DeFi go off and these other altcoins do nothing, because DeFi didn't have backholders, but these coins do. So whenever you see Nano have an uptick, you're going to see a bunch of inactive addresses come active again and start selling. So, yeah. I mean, I hope that makes sense to some of you anyway. That's how I play these. But I mean, like, if you're buying capitulation on anything, you're going to have balls of steel, because what you're buying into is literally a parabolic advance. It's the same thing as if you're selling into a parabolic advance, right? I mean, if you're timing it wrong, you get absolutely fucked. And I mean, that's just the danger of playing with this stuff. For me, the end result where this goes, right? For example, Nano, for me, I'm thinking this goes to zero at some point. So the end result is fixed for me in my head. It doesn't have to be, right? I could be completely wrong. But for me, this goes to zero eventually. So what it does in between, technically, it would make sense to short this every chance I get when it goes up, because I think the end result is down here, right? So anything that plays into that direction is higher chance to playing out than the opposite. And if you have something where you think the opposite is true, like let's say you're Link Marine, for example, and you think Link is going to infinity at some point, you're obviously going to want to play it the opposite way around, right? You're bullish on Link, you think Link goes up, and the end result is going to be high, and price is trading down here, so you obviously want to be longing. It's obviously going to be the case that you're going to get people that are completely deluded and think something is going to go to infinity, and it's just not gonna. But I mean, can't really help those people anyway. And I mean, they could be right? For example, Link, I don't think Link goes to like $500. I just don't. But they could be right. The Link Marines could be completely right, and I could be completely wrong. So I mean, I'm not in a position to say that they're delusional, even if I think they are. And then the market decides, and we'll see how it goes, right? But for me, it's like, if you think something goes to zero, it's much better to be shorting it than to be longing it. And the opposite is obviously true. So for example, for Bitcoin, right? A lot of people think Bitcoin is going to go up and going to continue going up. And I mean, I don't disagree with that fact. So if you're in that position, generally speaking, it makes more sense for you to buy dips than to sell rallies. So, yeah. But yeah, whenever I start talking about altcoin, it all goes all over the place, because altcoins are just all over the place, right? And there's a lot of feelings involved for a lot of people. Someone asked for Filecoin. Well, let's look at Filecoin. I think Filecoin is doing the same as, what was it? Curve is doing, just squeezing. So yeah, you have a massive squeeze on Filecoin. I think what you do on these, the chart isn't really important. What you look at is funding. What you look at is short and long positions. So it doesn't really matter where the price, or when you don't have a structure, you can't really draw one. But even if you had a structure here, right, it doesn't really matter too much, given that it all relies on how many people are shorting it and how many people are longing it. If you have a shitload of people shorting it, you're gonna get a squeeze regardless of how stupidly overvalued this is, and vice versa. It's easy to squeeze people in these kind of market conditions, right? And I mean, imagine you're shorting this and you're paying 1% of your short every 8 hours. If some person just decides to keep it sideways, you're getting bled the fuck dry, right? So whenever you have like funding in crazy amounts on either side, right, long or short, you don't want to necessarily be just blindly trading technicals, because that's not how it works at that point anymore. Don, you said that you were impressed by funding metric, but you're going to short here while funding is highly negative. I showed it way ago. I showed it up here. We've had short, like, funding was stupidly negative in here. You got paid a shitload too long in here. And then it dumps. So it's more about where the move starts than where it is in the middle. But yeah, I mean, when you get, like, if funding is creeping back super negative right now, might be a good place to kind of look for an exit and then re-short higher. I could see that. Like I said, I could even see it go all the way back to 13.6. Like, this was my plan yesterday, and it overshot based on the traditional markets. Could overshoot to the top and then round out. And who knows if it's really gonna dump or not. I'm just shorting from up here, seeing how it goes. Right. But yeah, if you see funding go negative on Bitcoin, it's at least somewhat dangerous to short. Oh, it's so annoying. Hey Don, is anyone talking about teasers anymore? Still relevant? I mean, it's hard to say if it's relevant or not, but not many people are talking about it because the chart looks like garbage, right? I mean, I'm not gonna touch it. I've had my move. I traded this move, feels like ages ago. And other people traded this move, that's fine too, right? But for me, I mean, I've had my fun with this. It's pretty illiquid too, so I don't want to touch it. SNX. I'm gonna do like a few more and then I'm gonna head off because I'm getting tired. But Jesus. So that's SNX, right? And this is one of the ones where you're suffering no matter what you're doing, right? Because I mean, if the chart looks like this during a Bitcoin rally, this is the USD chart, you're gonna get like, this just sucks, right? Imagine if you're long that and you're losing money while Bitcoin goes on a rampage, right? And just the Bitcoin pair. I'm not entirely sure if it's gonna break the support, but let me see. You're probably talking about the support, right? So I mean, you could argue, okay, you're making all these lows, you're not breaking down. So I could see a pump on here a little bit, but generally speaking, I think it's probably gonna head lower. And then if you look at the Bitcoin pair, it's just utter wreckage out there. But I mean, that's pretty much the case for all of the coins. Right now, it's double bottom. And those usually don't hold too long. So yeah, I mean, I could see it bounce a little bit, if you're lucky. But I mean, I'm generally not bullish based on this chart. I mean, you even have a head and shoulders top. It's pretty nice. Are you loading up on Doge? Not yet, but I mean, it's getting close to where I want to buy it. But yeah, I think that's enough for me. I'm getting tired. I want to go to bed. But yeah, thanks guys for coming by. Really appreciate it. I promise next time I'll be a little bit more there. Like I said, it's still recovering. Yeah, next Friday is probably gonna be me and Cred, I think, and otherwise Wednesday, like always, is gonna be me. And don't forget that UTC time doesn't change, and for some of you it's gonna be an hour earlier than usual. Just check the UTC time. It's always 7 p.m. UTC. So yeah, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate that as well. The links are in the description if you want to check them out. And yeah, have a nice evening and see you guys next time. Bye bye.